日本の旅行はどうだった？
超楽しかったよ。
何をしたの？
東京と京都で観光してきた。
食べ物はどうだった？
寿司が美味しかったけど、
高かった？
いや、そうじゃなくて、メニューが読めなかったんだよね。
食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん。
そうだね。覚えとく。Hello, test, test, test. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked.
How was your vacation? I went to Llanfair Pwllgwn Githgogerydd Windrog with Llantysilio Gogogoch.
What? Crazy person.
Welcome to Learn Japanese Pod, the podcast for people who want to speak Japanese more fluently and naturally. And I'm Alex, your host, and I am joined by our very own Japanese Jedi, Ami Sensei. Hey, Ami Sensei, how's it going?
Hi. Good. Hope you are as well.
Woohoo. Yeah, I'm great, thanks. And of course, Ami Sensei is here to teach us some authentic Japanese and give us some tips and tricks on how to sound more like a native. So, Ami Sensei, what's in today's show?
Hi. In today's show, you're going to learn some useful grammar and phrases to talk about your experiences using the past tense. Specifically, you'll learn how to talk about a vacation you had, describe activities you did, and give your opinion about the experience. After that, we'll answer some listener questions. If you have a question you'd like us to answer, go to learnjapanese.com/questions and fill in our easy-to-use form, and we'll try to answer your question on the podcast.
That's learnjapanesepod.com/questions. I should just mention here that we do get a lot of questions, and I'll be honest, we can't answer them all on the show, but we do read them all, and we're really appreciative of your interest in Japanese. Also, the questions that we don't answer, we do incorporate some of those topics in the dialogues that we do. So in that way, we kind of answer all the questions. Anyway, please send your questions in. We love getting them.
Hi. And finally, we'll go off script and talk about our latest news in Japanese so you can practice your Japanese listening. And that's it.
ありがとうございます、Ami Sensei.
どういたしまして。
So, without any further ado, let's jump into today's main dialogue. Have a listen and see how much you can understand.
日本の旅行はどうだった？
超楽しかったよ。
何をしたの？
東京と京都で観光してきた。
食べ物はどうだった？
寿司が美味しかったけど、
高かった？
いや、そうじゃなくて、メニューが読めなかったんだよね。
食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん。
そうだね。覚えとく。Okay, Ami Sensei, what was the first sentence we heard?
Okay, so the first sentence was 日本の旅行はどうだった? Okay, guys, so this should be fairly straightforward. 日本, Japan, no, of 旅行. 旅行 is vacation or trip. はどうだった? So, どうだった is going to be our key phrase here today. どうだった is how was. Okay? So, how was your trip to Japan? 日本の旅行はどうだった?
And then I replied, 超楽しかったよ. So, 超 means really or mega. And then
Yep, it's super slang.
It's super slang. And then 楽しかったよ. So, we'll talk about that in more detail later, but that means it was fun.
Next line. 何をしたの? What did you do?
And this is really casual. So in the polite Japanese that I learned in school, they would say, 何をしましたか? So 何, what, しました, did, ka makes it a question. But in more casual Japanese, 何をしたの? I suppose, Ami Sensei, you could also drop the o as well, right? 何したの?
Sure, you could say 何したの?
Yeah, so the dirty secret is, dear students of Japanese, you spend hundreds of hours learning particles, of which o is a particle. A lot of the time, native Japanese speakers drop the particles. Anyway, next, what did I say, Ami sensei?
You said, 東京と京都で観光してきた. So, 東京,
It's too hard.
It's too hard. Tokyo, と and 京都. Kyoto. で at, I guess. 観光 visited or
Sightseeing, maybe?
sightseeing, yes. してきた did. So I went to Tokyo and Kyoto to sightsee. I went sightseeing in Tokyo and Kyoto.
And してきた. So you could just say 観光した. I did sightseeing. I went sightseeing. But also you can say してきた. So して means do and then 来た come. So it's kind of like, how would you say it? I mean to say
I went sightseeing or?
Well, literally, I went and came back from sightseeing,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So してきた. So it's almost like in English, it would be like, I've been to Kyoto. Like I went there and then I came back.
Right. してきた. Yeah. I went and did this. I did this and came back. Yeah.
And it's totally fine to say 観光した, like I went sightseeing, but してきた sounds a little bit more natural. So that's a little point you might want to remember. Next, we were talking about food, right?
Yes. 食べ物はどうだった? So 食べ物, food, what? どうだった? How? So here it is again. どうだった? How was it? So how was the food?
Yeah, and that wa, in my brain, I always hear as is. I've been slapped on the wrist and what wa, if you had to translate it into English, which you can't really do, it would mean something like as for. So
sure.
食べ物は as for the food, it means you're setting the subject of the sentence. So we're talking about food now. How was it, right? Then next was, I said, sushi ga oishikatta kedo. So the sushi ga, again, it's like wa, but it's pointing to the subject. Oishikatta kedo. Oishikatta was delicious, kedo, but. So the sushi was good, but ... Then you said.
高かった? Was it expensive?
And then I said.
いや、そうじゃなくて、メニューが読めなかったんだよね.
So what does that mean?
So I asked, was the sushi expensive? And Alex said, no. そうじゃなくて, it's not that. メニューが、メニュー読めなかったんだよね. So 読めなかった means I couldn't read. 読めなかったんだよね kind of makes it more friendly.
Yeah, and it's a common pattern of speech. So this really comes from 読めなかったのです. 読めなかったのです, which is kind of just like a natural way of saying it, but that gets contracted to, so no des gets contracted to da. So 読めなかったんだ. Then よね is just a what does that mean, Ami Sensei? It's kind of like you're emphasizing the point and also eliciting a response from the listener, right? So you know, I couldn't read the menu.
I just couldn't. That kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then you gave some really good advice here.
Yeah, I said, 食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん. So my advice was, 食べたいもの, the thing you want to eat, に, again, it's like at or to, and 指さして, point, これください. This, please. そう言えばいいじゃん. Just say that, why don't you? So
yeah, that's a really good phrase. Yeah, そう言えばいいじゃん.
そう言えばいいじゃん.
So just say that.
Just say that. Just say, this please. Point to whatever you want and say, this please.
So there you go. This is a running joke on Learn Japanese Pod that every restaurant in Japan serves the food kore, which is this. So basically, get the menu, and if the menu has pictures on it or photos, as they often do, just point to it and say kore kudasai, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
And then I said, そうだね, そうだね. So そうだね means,
It can mean a lot of things.
it means a lot of things, doesn't it? In this particular
Mhm.
context, it actually means, got it, I understand.
Mhm.
Or literally it's like, that's right. But it's basically, I'm saying, okay, I see what you mean. And then oboe toku. So oboe means to remember. And then toku is to do an action in preparation for a situation in the future. So oboe toku. So really it just means I'll remember that for later.
Yes.
So again, the point I usually talk a bit too much about on the Japanese pod is you can say a lot more with a lot less in Japanese. You have these really kind of small phrases that contain a lot of information, a lot of nuance in them. So the good news, people, is you can say a lot more with a lot less, which means it takes less time to be able to become fluent in Japanese. The bad news is for us Westerners who are used to having subjects and objects in sentences, it can get incredibly vague. So it's like, wait, who said what? Huh? What? So that is that's the game we're playing, people. So Ami Sensei,
Hi.
thank you very much for explaining that. Now, dear, lovely, wonderful listeners, have another listen to the dialogue and see how much you understand.
日本の旅行はどうだった？
超楽しかったよ。
何をしたの？
東京と京都で観光してきた。
食べ物はどうだった？
寿司が美味しかったけど、
高かった？
いや、そうじゃなくて、メニューが読めなかったんだよね。
食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん。
そうだね。覚えとく。
日本の旅行はどうだった？超楽しかったよ。何をしたの？東京と京都で観光してきた。食べ物はどうだった？寿司が美味しかったけど、高かった？いや、そうじゃなくて、メニューが読めなかったんだよね。食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん。そうだね。覚えとく。Okay, people, let's drill today's main grammar point, which is talking about your experiences in the past tense. First of all, you could start by asking how something was using past tense. Now, usually in textbooks, you'll learn something polite, like ロンドンはどうでしたか? How was London? Now, that's fine, but between friends, obviously you can be more casual. So, for example, ロンドンどうだった? London is London. どう means how, and だった means was or were. So here's another example. パリどうだった? How was Paris? ピザどうだった? How was the pizza? Alex, you have a go.
Okay, how about 大阪どうだった?
That's it. How was Osaka?
Although you'd probably be in trouble if someone says Llanfair pwllgwyngyth gogerydd chwyndrobwyth llantysilio gogogoch do da da?
I'd be like, what?
So I heard that so that's the name of a Welsh village in Wales.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, so that's the name of a village in Wales, and it's famous because it's the longest name in at least Wales, maybe the UK.
That's funny.
And the joke is that the guy at the local train station says,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, we're here now."
That's funny.
Anyway, 脱線してしまいました。どうぞ、
いえいえ。
アミ先生、どうぞどうぞ。
Okay, so by the way, if you say wanted to ask in present tense, you would simply say 大阪どう? How is Osaka? Super easy, right? So someone asks you how something was, and to answer, you might say 楽しい, which means fun. But that's not quite right. We want to say something was fun. So here's how to do it. So we know 楽しい means fun. 楽しい is also known as an "い" adjective. These are adjectives that end with an "い" sound. 楽しい. Unlike English, adjectives in Japanese can be conjugated directly. To do that, take off the last i of tanoshii and add katta and say tanoshikatta. It was fun. And if you want to emphasize your point, you can add yo on the end. So tanoshikatta becomes tanoshikatta yo. You can also say chō or sugoku before tanoshii to mean really. Chō tanoshikatta yo or sugoku tanoshikatta yo means it was really fun. Okay, guys, so let's practice.
Okay, so Ami Sensei, let's go through a couple of sentences. Basically, one of us says, how was so-and-so place?
Okay.
And then you reply, it was fun, or the food was delicious, or the weather was great. And I have an onegai, I have a request. Can you also teach us the pitch and intonation for each sentence? Onegai shimasu.
はい、もちろん。All right, so here is drill number 1. 東京どうだった?楽しかったよ。
Oh, I know what that means. That means, how was Tokyo? And the answer was, it was fun, right?
Yes, exactly.
Great. So could you just teach us really quickly the intonation for that, for the first one?
東京どうだった?
東京どうだった?
Right.
Is that okay?
Perfect. 楽しかったよ。
楽しかったよ. Is that okay?
So they both go down. どうだった?
Yeah.
Wait, maybe not the どうだった. どうだった goes up. And then 楽しかったよ actually goes up too. Sorry. So 東京どうだった?楽しかったよ.
Great. It's funny when you're a native speaker and someone asks you a question about it and you're like, no, wait a minute, that's not how we say it.
I know, that's exactly how I was. My brain was like, like they go down. No, they go up.
I get that all the time when my Japanese friends say, like, how do you say this or why do you say that? And I give an answer and I'm like, oh no, wait a minute, that's not how we say it.
Oh, like an English question?
Yeah, like an English question. But I know the English speak no more. Quick, let's go on to example number 2.
Before we both go crazy. Number 2. 料理どうだった?超美味しかったよ。
Okay, so that means, how was the food, 料理? And 超美味しかったよ. So it was delicious. And please teach us the pronunciation.
Sure. 料理どうだった?
料理どうだった?
超美味しかったよ。
超美味しかったよ. Is that okay?
Yes.
Cool.
超美味しかったよ.
Yeah, no, please strictly correct my Japanese.
That's, you're doing great. Now, with this phrase, 超美味しかったよ, you can go up or down with this one, depending on how excited you are.
Sure.
You can go 超美味しかったよ, right? Go
right.
up, or you can go 超美味しかったよ, if you're a little more composed, right?
Sure.
All right, next one.
We're never composed on the Japanese.
No, so you can be like 超美味しかったよ.
超美味しかったよ.
Yeah.
Okay,
here's number 3. 映画どうだった?超面白かったよ.
So how was the movie? It was really interesting.
Yes.
So just a good question. How do you pronounce movie in Japanese?
映画.
映画. Is that right? I'm getting it wrong. Say again.
映画. だら.
映画. だら. 映画. どうだった?
だら.
映画.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
超面白かったよ.
超面白かったよ.
Now, 面白い can mean funny,
Yeah.
but in this case, it means interesting, like you said, Alex.
Yeah. It's a bit of a vague one. So 面白い, or in Kansai being おもろい,
Yeah.
right? Is either interesting
Or like fun or...
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Here we go. 日本語のテストどうだった?超難しかったよ.
So how was your Japanese test? It was super hard.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's a question. How do you say Japanese in Japanese?
日本語
日本語
Mm-hmm.
日本語のテストどうだった
Yes, perfect.
超難しかったよ
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful. So, everyone, I hope that all made sense. Have one more listen to the dialogue again and see how much you can understand now. 日本の旅行はどうだった?
超楽しかったよ
何をしたの?
東京と京都で観光してきた
食べ物はどうだった?
寿司が美味しかったけど
高かった?
いや、そうじゃなくてメニューが読めなかったんだよね
食べたいものに指さして、これください。そう言えばいいじゃん。
そうだね。覚えとく。Okay, let's move on to listener questions. Again, as I said, we try to answer as many questions as we can, but we are embarrassed by a wealth of questions that we get from you lovely listeners. So without further ado, let's answer some of the recent questions that we've got. I'll do the first one.
はい。
And this is from Luis from Brazil. Oi, gente, tudo bem?
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Wait, I think you're supposed to say obrigada.
Oh, because I'm a girl? Obrigada. Ah.
And another thing you should know is don't let me teach you Portuguese. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm the question is, I'm Luis, a student of Japanese from Brazil. Tudo bem? Since I live far from a really big city, I've never used Japanese until now. Yep, that's very common with our listeners, people who don't live, maybe people who live in rural areas. I was trying to pass the MEXT, MEXT exam in order to do my graduation in Japan. If you don't know what that is, that's the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, Monbuka Gakusho, which is a bit of a mouthful. Louise, that's awesome. Good luck with that. So MEXT basically gives out these really cool scholarships that allow you to study in Japan. I'll put a link on the website if you're interested in looking into that. Anyway, Louise says, recently I feel that I'd really like to use Japanese in real conversation, but I have no one to talk to. What do you guys recommend me do? I've thought about some online games, but the price is too high, unfortunately. I think like online apps and stuff. Thanks for the support. Love your podcast. It's actually the first listening material I've ever seen which works with real life conversations.
Aww.
Thank you so much, Louise.
That's so sweet.
You're really, really kind. So just a couple of my notes, and Ami, feel free to jump on in the end and give your comments. But
Okay.
basically, long story short, if you want to get good at something, you've got to do it. So practicing your speaking is the only way to get better. I don't care how you do it. I know Miku Sensei from Real Japanese, who we've done some videos together before. She said when she was learning Spanish, at first she had no one to talk to. So she talked to herself in the mirror, which I thought is absolutely hilarious. Not the best way of doing a language, but you just have to speak somehow. One way you could do that is join our Discord channel. Just go to Learn Japanese Pod, click on the forum link, and you'll become a member. And you can meet the other members and practice with them. Recently, they've been getting together on the audio chat and practicing their Japanese together. So that's a free resource you can use right there. Watch as many Japanese YouTube videos as you can and shadow. So shadowing just means listening and repeating. Not the absolute best way to practice conversation, but it will definitely get you speaking Japanese. Maybe if cost isn't a problem, you can enroll in a Japanese conversation class. If only I knew someone, a Japanese teacher who was giving lessons online.
Hey. ...
What, Ami Sensei?
Yes, I do.
What? But what? I didn't know that. You're teaching Japanese online?
Yeah, so I've started, online lessons. And
Woohoo.
yeah.
How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can connect with me on social media, Vocalist Ami.
Cool. So that's like Instagram and
Facebook or
Facebook.
Twitter. Yeah, feel free to message me.
Great. Wonderful. Hey, Ami Sensei, just a crazy
Hi.
idea. Would you be interested in doing a group online lesson.
Yeah.
If we got say 10 people together
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of taught them as a group, that
Yeah.
could be kind of fun maybe.
That'd be fun,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, we could maybe do that. Okay, cool. Sorry, Luis. Last one is I think cash might be an issue for you, but you can use the italki website that connects you with teachers of the target language you want to learn. So you do have to pay, but the lessons are actually quite inexpensive. So I know in Tokyo people pay up to like $50 or $90 an hour just to do English lessons, but
Wow.
these can be much cheaper, like 500 yen an hour, which is like $5 an hour or something. So
Wow.
if you do have a bit of cash that you can spend differently, I would suggest investing in that. But yeah, find any way you can to practice and practice with your Japanese friends if you can. Luis, thank you very much for your question.
ありがとうございます.
ありがとうございます.
Okay.
Hami Sensei, do you want to do the next question?
Sure. So here's our next question, and it is from Cedric. Hi, Alex. Hi, Ami. Hello, Cedric. A big hello from Quebec, Canada. Ooh, bonjour.
Bonjour.
He says, don't mind my English. I'm basically French. I think you speak English just fine.
Oh, stop it, you Cedric. And also
Stop it.
Luis as well. Your English is incredible. It's embarrassing how good your
I know,
English is.
everybody's like trying to be trilingual, right?
I know. It's oh,
amazing.
Gosh. I got to learn another language, Ami.
Me too. So Cedric says, I know there's a podcast on the topic, but lately I've been struggling with ways to use the verb to work. He says, when do I use 仕事をする, 働く, or 勤める? So those are 3 different phrases.
Oh, yikes.
I'm a bit lost. Yeah, I'm a bit lost with those 3. Could you help clarify how I should use them?
Ami Sensei, could you give some examples?
Sure. So like, you know, 仕事は大変だった or 仕事したくない、仕事しなくちゃ、仕事ができる人. So we hear that word often and it's used a lot in day-to-day conversation.
So like what you said was 仕事は大変だった. So work was really tough.
Yeah.
Then what? 仕事したくない, I really don't want to work. Or
Don't want to work.
仕事しなきゃ, I've got to work.
Yep.
And then 仕事ができる人, someone who works well, someone
Yeah.
who can do their job well, right? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So it can mean job, and it can just mean work in general. Okay.
Cool.
And then 働く. So you could say デパートで働く. So this word 働く is used a lot when you're talking about a specific place you work at, right? So デパートで働く means I work at a department store.
And
Right.
the grammar for that is wherever you work, で, which means at, and then 働く. So デパートで働く. 会社で働く. So I work at a company. So it's pretty easy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and it's like a real simple way of saying, you know, where you work, right?
In fact, I would just use that as the default. If you're not quite
Yeah.
sure if it's 仕事働く or 勤める, just use 働く. It's
Yes.
fine. Yeah.
And then, like you said, Alex, 勤める is pretty formal. And, you know, you can use it in a formal setting. You can say, for example, ツアーガイドを務める. I work as a tour guide. お医者を務める. I work as a doctor. That kind of thing.
And the grammar is a little different. So remember, 働く, it's like place of work. で働く, so I work at somewhere. But it's 勤める is it's a little bit weird for me. I always have difficulty understanding what, but you just basically say where you work を勤める. So ツアーガイドを務める. It's kind of like I work as.
Yeah, and you can say で
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
勤める as well. But in this case, you know, you can say the actual title, right?
Yeah,
Or the actual actual job title,
sure.
and then say を and then 勤める. So, you know, they kind of go in order of you know, they kind of go in casual to formal order. But I hope that made a little sense, Cedric.
Cedric, one thing I find helpful is when you have words that are similar but not quite the same, you might want to think of a Venn diagram. You remember studying maths, or as Americans say, math.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
It's maths. No, it ain't. It's math. Damn it. Anyway, so one way you want to think about it is Venn diagrams. So you have two circles that are intersecting. So for example, in English, like an easy example, if you have the word see and look, on the outer edges of each circle, in the intersecting bit of the circle, you would write using your eyes to observe something, right? See and look. But on the C one is you do it passively, right? And on the other outer circle, look is you're actively looking. So what you can do is the Venn diagram is a really good way to show you what's similar and what's different with two different words. Does that make sense? I explained that horribly.
No, you did fine. You did
fine.
See
what I mean? So thank you so much for those questions. Again, that's learnjapanesepod.com/questions. Please fill out our easy to use form. And now, Ami Sensei and I, without aid of a safety net, will switch into Japanese mode. And we will talk about recent stuff that we've been doing. And we will do it all in Japanese. And it's not scripted. And hopefully it will give you an opportunity to practice your Japanese listening. So, Ami Sensei. すごい曖昧な質問だけど、最近いいことあった？
最近ね。最近大変ですからね。
そうだよね。まだそっちはまだなんていうロックダウン、まだ家は出られないの？
まあそのなんていうのかな、必要な、買い物とか必要な用事以外はって感じで。
まだちょっと厳しいですよね。
まだ厳しいかなっていう感じで、だから私も、その買い物、食材とかの買い物行ったりとか、なんか、お医者さん行ったりとか、そういうことでしか外に出ない。
そうだね。まあ2020年は大変な年だよね。
ねえ。
だからまだ6ヶ月だけど、これからどうなるかな？
まだ6ヶ月って感じだし、もう6ヶ月って感じだし、
そう
これからね、どうなるかね。もうオリンピックもないし、なんか
そうだね。
変なって言ったらあれだけど、ちょっと歴史に残る。
やっぱりなんていうオリンピックが来年になんていう延期になったよね。延期になったけど、まだね2021年でも、
厳しいかも。
いや多分なんかオリンピックはできるかもしれない。でも、人が多く来るかどうかわからない。
アレックスは来ないかもしれないって思う。
もしねコロナウイルス第2波になったら、また制限されて、そんなに人が来ないかもしれない。でも、できればみんなが元気で多くの人が来るように願ってます。
ね、なんかいいことあったって聞かれて、いいことあったって早く言えるようになりたい。
嬉しいことについて話しましょう。だから、コロナウイルスが収束したら何するの？
もうやっぱりまず友達とかと会ってみんなでご飯行ったりしたい。ね、全然やっぱり友達と会えてないし、全然本当に全く。でなんかやっぱりご飯食べるのが好きだから外食を早くしたい。
そうね。そう。
テイクアウトっていうかデリバリーを最近ちょっとするようになって、そのめちゃくちゃじゃないけどたまに、それぐらいかないいことって
出前のチラシがめっちゃ来た。
やっぱり
すごい毎日ね、なんか何枚も入ってるね。すごい。
今だから。そっかそっか。
Uber Eats とか、その近所にある寿司屋さんとか、なんちゃらなんちゃらカレーとかいろいろあるよ。
すごい。さすが日本。た
だね、高い。
そのデリバリー費が高いってこと？
そう。なんか多くのレストランが直接テイクアウトじゃなくてなんか管理会社がある。だから管理会社はなんていうなんかお金を取るからさらに高くなると、ね。
その第三者が。そう。なるほど。
じゃあ僕はねコロナウイルスが収束したら海外旅行したいな。
わかる。旅行したい。私も。
でしょ。
どこに行きたい？アレックスは。そうね。
島に行きたいな。
どこの？
フィリピンとか。タイとか。
じゃあ東南アジア。
東南アジアとかバリ島とかちょっと行きたいな。なんか東京は好きね。東京の生活は好きだけどリフレッシュしたいなと思って。
東南アジアは行ったことある？
めっちゃ行ってるよ。
そうなんだ。
めっちゃ行ってるよ。どこだったっけ？マレーシア、タイ、バリ島、すごい。インドネシア。
結構行ってる。どこが一番お気に入り？
それは難しい質問。国はそれぞれがなんかいい点いっぱいあるよ。やっぱりタイが好きね。タイとバリ島が大好き。その文化、食べ物、気候、で人の性格がすごくいいね。だから
いいね。
タイがすごくいいね。いいね。どこだってコーパンアンとか、チャンマイとか、もしタイの方が来ていらっしゃると、サワディクラブ。ちょっと待って、どっちだったっけ？ありがとうはコップンクラブ。こんにちはがサワディクラブ。で、女性の方はサワディカーとコップンカー。
で、男の人はサワディカー。
そう。だから、Hello people from Thailand.
Hello.
And also hello people in Bali. Bagus.
なんて言うんだろう。
Bagus.
Bagus?
はいいということですね。
早く旅行したいね。
旅行したいね。じゃあ皆さん、コロナウイルスが終わったら何したいの？将来のことを考えましょう。楽しいことを考えましょう。日本語勉強するかな？来年日本に来るかな？皆さん。お待ちしておりますので。
お待ちしてます。
よろしくお願いします。And now, it's time for Random Phrase of the Week.
Yay!
So what is our random phrase, Ami Sensei?
Okay, it is Punska. Let me just say, I didn't choose this one.
This was completely my fault. I full disclosure, this is maybe not the most commonly used bit of slang, but I do have a friend who taught it to me the other day.
I think it's funny. I think it's great.
It's just so funny and it makes me laugh. And I tell you what, even if it's not used that much, if you use it in front of a Japanese person, they will literally fall off their chair and say, "Where did you learn that crazy word?" So what does punsuka mean?
Punsuka is like when you're kind of mad at somebody.
Right.
You're not like super mad. You're just like kind of cute mad.
Cute
right?
mad, yeah. Right.
So.
As Japanese girls often get, right?
Yes. So like you'll probably see it more often in like anime and stuff, or like TV and like things like that. But you can use it in casual conversation to make people laugh for sure.
プンスカしてんじゃないとか。or
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
How would you use it in a sentence?
Like, プンスカ怒ってるね。
彼女はプンスカ怒ってる。
Yeah, プンスカ怒ってる。Yeah.
怒る means angry. So
Yes.
if your プンスカ怒ってる means it's your プンスカ level angry.
Yes. And then so it's actually kind of なんていうの? Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just use it alone. Like if you want to be cute mad. Like プンスカ.
プンスカ. It's such a hilarious sound.
Yeah.
What's a bit more commonly used word to say that someone's maybe frowning or they look kind of
Upset.
Yeah. Like especially like when a girl, like she puffs her cheeks out and goes, "Mo."
I think more common is プンプンしてる.
Oh yeah, プンプンしてるね. Yeah. ね、彼女プンプンしてるね.
Yeah, like she's upset. She's a little mad.
Yeah, she's a little mad at you.
Yeah.
So プンプンしないよ. Like don't be like that.
Don't be プンプン.
So there you go. A bit esoteric. プンスカ. Use it well and use it with pride, people. Ami Sensei, thank you so much for teaching us some really fun, interesting, awesome, useful Japanese.
Yeah.
Beautiful, wonderful listeners, do not forget to visit our main website at learnjapanesepod.com. Also, don't forget to visit our dojo. Our dojo, what's that I hear you cry? This is our online platform which has Japanese courses that you can study. Some of them are for free and some of them are premium. That's dojo.learnjapanesepod.com, dojo.learnjapanesepod.com. Go check out, we've got a free hiragana course and a free self-introduction course. It's a 5-day challenge. It's really cool. I think you'll enjoy it. And we also have our travel Japanese course, which is our course that teaches you everything you need to know to come to Japan and have an awesome vacation in Nihon. Don't forget, you can also join our Discord channel. Simply go to learnjapanesepod.com and go to the top and click on the link that says forum. You can become a member. Come talk to all the members. It's become an incredible community. Check this out, Ami Sensei. We now have 700 members.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a really supportive, helpful community. I've never had to police it. People are really friendly. They're really, really nice. So we are absolutely lucky and blessed to have an amazing community. There's so many people I want to say thank you to. You know who you wonderful people are. We've got some really great people who make it a fantastic community. So please come along to the Discord channel. A lot of the members now are getting together and using the audio chat to practice their Japanese. So come along and say hello to everyone. And then finally, don't forget, Ami Sensei is teaching Japanese online. So if you want to study Japanese with Ami directly, please find her on social media, Facebook, Instagram, on Vocalist Ami. Also, check out her music. Buy her music. She's a musician.
Aww.
She needs to eat and buy more instruments.
Thank you. Please. Yes, I want an electric guitar.
Yes. I want to buy a new guitar because I've currently got a Yamaha, which is a fine guitar, and it's got an old samurai painting as the main design on the front of it.
Nice.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Japanese fluency takes time. The secret is to keep at it every day, even if it's only 5 minutes a day. Just try to practice your listening. Get as much input as you can. Practice shadowing if you can. Talk to your Japanese friends. Maybe enroll in a Japanese class. Our job here is to simply inspire you to get more interested in the Japanese language and explore it. So thank you for listening, Ami Sensei. いろいろ面白い日本語を教えていただいてありがとうございます。
どういたしまして。
So until the next lesson, see you next time. じゃあまたね。
またね。